So then guys, Apple have just announced the brand new iPad mini with an A17 Pro inside of it. But what other changes are also included with this iPad mini? And how does it compare to the last generation iPad mini like we have right here? Well, today I'm going to do a review of specs for you guys comparing both of these iPad minis. And with that, let's get started then with my good old comparison chart. So as you can see then, on the left side, we have the iPad Mini A15, the 2021 model, versus on the right, the iPad Mini A17 Pro, the 2024 model. And let's begin then, first of all, with the display type. So both of these iPad minis have a standard LED display inside of them. This is a Retina display, but this is the same Retina display that we've had ever since, say, the likes of, I don't know, about the iPad sort of 3 series sort of time. So a long time ago when we actually got that. And this is the same kind of technology inside of this. And the actual screen size for both of these iPad minis are exactly the same. It's the same chassis and everything, so they're both 8.3 inches. There's no difference whatsoever in size, and that also means the same in screen resolution. The screen resolution is still very good for the size of this iPad, so it comes in at 2266 by 1488 for the resolution on both these iPads. And what this basically means is that for pixels per inch, or PPI, we're getting 326 pixels per inch, what is very good for a device this size. This is even more pixels per inch than the likes of, say, an iPad Pro, for example. But one of the big letdowns that a lot of people are thinking is that we do not have inside of it a ProMotion display. We just still have the standard 60 Hz display in both of these models. There's no differences there whatsoever. Now, one thing that we've also looking forward to seeing some changes, that maybe that jelly scrolling effect might also be fixed here with the refresh rate. We'll have to wait and see when we get our hands on the new iPad mini with the A17 Pro. But then moving on then for the actual CPU, the processor, this is where the biggest change is actually happening. So what we've actually got here on the iPad mini with the A15 here, we've actually got a 6-core CPU and a 4-core GPU inside of it, and the 16-core neural engine. Whereas now we've actually got the iPad mini A17 Pro, and inside of this now we actually have the A17 Pro, the same or similar chip to the model that we had in the iPhone 15 Pro and also the iPhone 15 Pro Max. This is made up of a 6-core CPU. The difference is though, we've only got a 5-core GPU, whereas the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max actually have a 6-core GPU. So we've got a binned off 1 core here, but we've also got a 16-core neural engine inside of this too, compared to the A15. But then, moving over to RAM amounts, well, there is definitely a big difference here. The iPad mini with the A15 inside of it only had 4 GB of RAM, and now we actually have 8 GB of RAM paired along with that A17 Pro now. So this is really great. This is double the amount of RAM. So this is fantastic to see that we got a 100% increase in RAM now in the likes of the iPad mini. And then for storage amounts as well, this has changed as well. Last time what we actually had, we had 64 GB of storage and also a 256 GB storage option. Whereas now, as you can see right here, we've actually got 3 storage options this time. The base amount of storage now starts at 128 GB, a 256 GB option, and also a 512 GB option that you can choose from. And then onto the actual operating system, both of these devices can run the latest iPadOS 18, and also they'll be able to run some more operating systems into the future. And with that, most likely that the iPad mini, the standard A15 one, will probably get software updates for probably the next sort of 4 to 5 years or so. So it will still continue to get updates, whereas the other iPad mini, the brand new one, it's a brand new model, so most likely we're going to probably get around about 6 to 7 years of software updates inside of this. And one of the big key differences with that 8 GB of RAM and also the likes of the A17 Pro is that this enables Apple Intelligence on the brand new iPad mini with the A17 Pro, whereas the other iPad mini with the A15 obviously it cannot run Apple Intelligence whatsoever. When we get iOS 18.1, when that comes available, obviously that's not available at the time of making this video. Then on to battery life. Apple have promised the exact same amount of battery life in both of these models. That's up to 10 hours on both these devices of on-screen time. That is what they're promising. There is no differences here whatsoever what Apple are saying. And this seems like the benchmark that Apple like to keep. Like the iPad Pros, for example, they have up to a 10-hour battery life too. Then moving over then to wired and wireless charging. Well, straight away I'm going to tell you this, neither of these models have wireless charging inside of them, but what we do also have is USB-C charging standard, and this can go up to 20-watt charging on both of these devices, so no difference there. For the actual weight, it's exactly the same again, 293 grams for both these models, so no differences here whatsoever. And then water resistance, there is no water resistance sadly on any of the iPad models. It's really, really bad, I think, in my opinion. I'd love to see something at least say even like on a mini model, but no water resistance whatsoever. And then on the actual ports wise, we've only got one port on the very bottom, and that is the USB-C port. But the difference here is the A15 could transfer at 5 gigabits per second, but the new iPad mini with the A17 Pro, it has a 10 gigabits transfer speed. So this is the same as the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max because of that A17 Pro. Very similar to the iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max. It can transfer at this faster speed, what is brilliant to see. But moving on then to the actual Apple Pencil. Well, the iPad mini A15 is compatible with the Apple Pencil 3, but the iPad mini A17 Pro is actually compatible with the brand new Apple Pencil Pro, what came out earlier this year, and also compatible with the Apple Pencil 3. So this is really great news to hear that we have this compatibility on this iPad. For stereo speakers, they're exactly the same here. They're 4x speakers on both these models. So this is what we've got here, so exactly the same. And then there is also 4G compatibility on these if you want the cellular version. There isn't 5G on this, but there is 4G. So this is really good to see that we have this on both of these models. And then for Bluetooth technology, the iPad mini, the older one has Bluetooth 5.0, whereas the newer one has Bluetooth 5.3. And it's the same deal with Wi-Fi. The old one has Wi-Fi 6, whereas the newer one has Wi-Fi 6E. It doesn't have Wi-Fi 7. The main reason is probably because of that A17 Pro. So, it's only compatible with Wi-Fi 6E and with the actual kind of modem that's used with that chipset. So, yeah. But then moving on to the rear cameras, what have we got here? We've actually got single lenses still again, and they're both 12 megapixel wide sensors, exactly the same sensors, no differences whatsoever here. And then the same with the selfie camera on the front, they're at the portrait, they're at the top, and they're 12 megapixel center stage, and they can both record up to 4K on there. So there's no differences here whatsoever. But then finally, the actual price of both of these models. So the iPad mini, the last one, came in at $499 US with the A15 and the base model at 64 gigabytes. But now the newest iPad mini with the A17 Pro also starts at $499 US for the 128 gigabyte model now. So this is definitely an increase here. And then finally, we've also got some new colors now to the palette. So the old iPad mini with the A15 had 4 colors. What was a purple, a pink, space gray, and also starlight. But now what we actually have on the new iPad mini with the A17 Pro, we've actually got blue, a lighter purple, space gray, and also starlight as well. And with that then, guys, will you be buying a new iPad mini, and which one? And there we have it, guys. That is the comparison of the last iPad mini to the new one. What do you think of the upgrades inside of this? Well, personally, in my opinion, I would have wished maybe for a Pro Motion display, and also, this is just me here. I would have preferred, if we're keeping a non-Pro Motion display inside of this, maybe we should just got the A18 inside of this instead of the A17 Pro. Because to me, it's a little bit confusing that it's a Pro chip, but it's a non-Pro device. Just like the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus has the normal A18, but not an A18 Pro, if you can see what I mean. And that would be what I would say if we were keeping the normal 60 Hz display inside of it. That's what I personally would have chosen. But at the end of the day, I guess Apple have to get rid of those those old A17 Pros, but you know, those are just my thoughts there. What are your thoughts on the new iPad mini? Are you going to be getting one, or are you going to get the older model? Let me know in the comments below. And also guys, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons too, make sure you subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.